My mom said to me, I would rather see you lose 1 year of your life than lose your values for the rest of your life.
Shiv Khera, welcome to Let's Chat with GB.
Oh, thanks a lot, Guru.
It's going to get worse, right? Now with the entire AI wave and whatever's going to happen there and the entry level disruption, this is probably going to get worse before it gets better.
I'll tell you one thing. People with integrity, they will never have a problem. One good machine can substitute 100 people, but 100 machines cannot substitute one good person.
How much has sales actually changed, over the course of these 5 decades now? And what are you seeing happening in that space?
Sales has changed drastically. Most people don't even know what selling is all about, and selling does not even start till somebody gives you an objection. Till then, you are order taking.
What do you think the youth today needs to do?
Never in the history of mankind has it been so easy to succeed in life the way it is today. Regardless of your profession, we have no competition. Success is a habit, and so is failure.
One habit that will destroy success.
Lack of focus. Destroy success.
It was in 1998. I was a struggling 22-year-old while emerging business person when my mother came to me and she gave me a book. And that book was written by a legendary gentleman who we will have on the podcast today. The book, of course, was You Can Win. The gentleman who wrote it was Mr. Shiv Khera. Mr. Shiv Khera, welcome to Let's Chat with GB.
Oh, thanks a lot, Guru. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It is a pleasure, of course, to have you with us. Almost 40 years, since your journey has actually started in the space of, motivation, self-help, sales, development, and more. How is it? What's been the secret sauce? How's it been, for you? And how have you kept, relevance on for 4 decades in a business where most people won't even last 4 years?
Well, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
That's why somebody said it took me 15 years for 15 seconds of success.
Right.
No, 15 years was the behind part. And that is why it is said, see, all these glaciers you see, do you realize you see the tip of the iceberg, but the 80% of the glacier is right underwater.
So true.
So the journey that we're talking is 40 years has been tough. Don't get me wrong. It has been tough, but there has been a lot of struggle, and it's been worthwhile. When I see the end result, when people say to me that the book changed my life or your program changed my life, my only answer to them is, it's not my book, your hard work changed.
So
my book was only a catalyst.
I love that.
My program was only a catalyst, but it is your hard work that did it, because many times, many people go through it and they read it and they put it down.
Right.
And nothing happens. So really, it takes a lot of guts and effort. But specifically, to share with you, which we have put on our website,
Right.
what kept me going for the last 40 years. I'm 77 now.
Yes.
And my wife for the last 20 years has been asking me, when are you retiring? I said, this year and this year. But I'll share with you the kind of letter that we got, which we put on our website.
Right.
There was a person by the name of Anil David.
Right.
And he was into money laundering in Singapore.
Okay.
Now, Singapore money laundering, he was into big time money part.
Right.
So easy come, easy go. Eventually, the law caught on, and he was picked up and sent to jail for 10 years. And literally, his family got hurt. He had 2 daughters, and they didn't like what happened. But bottom line is, he said, somehow I found your book, You Can Win.
Right.
And he said, I read through it many times. I made up my mind. I messed up. I messed up my family also. I must do something different and change. Eventually, after 10 years, he got released from the jail. And he said, I was looking for a job. Now, nobody would give a job to a convict. But then he said, I got a job for $900. With $900, how do I manage my family? Which I can't. Then he said, I got you another book, You Can Sell, which was another book.
Correct.
But he said, I have to make a change in my life. And he read somewhere in my book that one of the highest paying profession in the world is not accounting, not law, not engineering, not medicine. It is the profession of a commission salesman.
Agreed.
Commission salesman. And he said, I have to do something on that line. Eventually, with after a lot of struggle back and forth, he started his own business. Now, to cut it short, Gaurav, today this guy has employs about 650 people. 650 people. And he's got some of the biggest names in the world as the clients. I believe Coca-Cola, Dell, Standard Charter. I mean, number of big names as clients.
Right.
And he has created a call center
Sure.
with that many people. But many people create call centers. But what is unique about his call center, 350 people employed at the call center are jail inmates.
Wow.
So he created a call center inside the jail by taking special permission from the government of Singapore.
Love that.
And he met me when I was in Singapore last time, and he says, thanks, Mr. Khera. That's what's changed. And now he's actually looking to partner with me in Singapore on from some training part. So we put this letter from him on our website. And I said, when I read letters like this, I told my wife, I said, I'm not retiring.
Goosebumps.
I am not retiring. And there are many other letters like this. Another from Australia was looking to commit suicide, one from Nigeria, and so on. And I said, look, somebody now has to take me off the stage. They carry me out. I think that's the only way I will retire. Till then, I'm not. So to cut it short, this is really what the journey has been.
Wow. You know, I was doing the math, on the way here, 15 million copies, of the book, that have been sold. And of course, that's, the copies that have been sold. And I often see that books would actually travel. And I was thinking it's possibly, one copy is touched about 5 people. Hence, we're looking at, maybe 75 million lives, touched. And I'm looking at that, with conjunction to the population of India. And I'm saying, like, that's probably 8% of the Indian population that has actually gone through this book. So that to have that kind of impact, I mean, we're talking about something that's in the running with the Bhagavad Gita and the Quran. I mean, that's the kind of impact that a book has made, and that's just mind-boggling. I mean, really amazing. Like, so good to see.
Well, I'm grateful to God that I got the opportunity to share what I learned from people much wiser than me.
Love that.
So I cannot say that whatever I have put in is all mine.
Right.
I have learned from people much wiser than me.
Right.
And had they not shared their knowledge with me, probably I would be washing cars in the US today. That's how I started my life. So I'm grateful to God. One of the turning points in my life, Gaurav, was I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power Positive Thinking. And from that day onwards, I became an avid reader. Now, I got married when I was 22, 23.
Right.
And I was a troublemaker in the school. And I never read a book in my life till I got married. I only read comics. And after attending these programs by Dr. Peale, I became an avid reader, started reading one after the other, meeting people one after the other, and each one opened a fresh door for me. Each one gave me another direction. So that's how, but did I know I would be here? No, I did not know.
Right.
See, this is like I share with people. Supposing you are going from one destination to another, from New York to, let us say, to Niagara Falls.
Right.
If you're going from there, can you see all the milestones there? No. You see, you go 2 miles, you see a new milestone. You go 2 miles, you see a new milestone. And that says, I'm on track, I'm on track, I'm on track. You can't see the end one, but you see the new one says, I'm still on track. And that keeps giving you the direction. And it's a process.
And just to put in context, for our viewers and listeners who might be thinking, in terms of Dr. Peel and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, like these are the OGs. Today we hear about some of the big names, in the world, the Cardones and the Tony Robbins. Like these are the people who taught them everything that they know. And I think Dr. Peel probably was born in the in the 1898, somewhere around that time. And then of course you had Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and other people who had a big impact in your life. And I think it's so good that you're actually giving credit to where it's due, because I think that's one thing in the world today. People just say, "Arey, ye to mera content hai, maine banaya hai." It came to me, in some divine, intervention or something like that. So I think it's so important to give credit where it's due.
But Gaurav, there's another difference. Somehow I was privileged. I met these people
Right,
one on one going
right,
back.
right.
And what I felt was they walked their talk.
So true.
There's a difference.
So true.
But there are some names that I don't want to take anymore.
Right.
They don't walk the talk.
Sure.
They do not walk the talk.
Sure.
And these people, there was level of authenticity and substance in them, and probably that's what made a world of a difference. And I think that gave them the authority to take the message forward.
Right.
But today, people who copy here, cheat here, and do all kinds of and they don't walk. There's a different dual personality.
Very true.
I personally feel they are cheats. They are dishonest. That's not honesty.
Agree.
That's really not honesty.
100%.
And I think it's to them, it's only a way how to make money by hook or by crook. And that is really not what the whole thing is all
And it's not
about.
sustainable, and which is why you'll see them, there'll be fly-by-night operators. They're here today, gone tomorrow. That'll never lead to lasting, success or lasting anything for that matter. So let's go back to, the time. And of course, you mentioned your journey's been a roller coaster, but what was it like, for those first, 20 odd years, of your life as well?
Well, I really I didn't grow up there
Mhm.
because mines were there. My dad used to be there.
Right.
My mom used to be back and forth into Delhi.
Right.
I did my schooling in Delhi and in modern school in Barakamba. Then I did my college right here. And I was the backbencher troubling the front benchers. And in my 8th grade, out of 6 or 7 subjects, I failed in all except one. So my principal called me and said, Shiv, you're paying too much attention on one subject.
And that was?
And in fact, out of 28 kids, I was number 27 because the 28th was absent. And finally, in my 10th grade, I had to repeat my class. So I spent 2 years. So many times when people meet me from my school days, they ask me, what was your batch? I said, don't worry about my batch. You tell me yours because I got many batches. So tell me your batch. So that's it because I failed. But that's all right.
I think that's a lesson that kids today need to be told by their parents. Or at least parents need to let their children know that it's okay to fail. I think children today are their parents are a bit too hard on them when it comes to academics and failure and success. I think, and you've had some thoughts on that in the past as well.
Gaurav, let me share this point with you. My major influence on my life was my mother. And the sad part is that many times we confuse failing as failure. I might have failed, but that does not mean I'm a failure. I might have been fooled, but that does not mean I'm a fool. Now, there was a reason why I failed or why my principal detained me there. After I had to repeat and it was decided, I went to my mother and I said, Mom, I'm really sorry. There was an ethical issue, by the way. There was an ethical issue. And I told my mom, I said, I'm really, really sorry. I let you down, but I apologize. Get me out of the school. Because it is embarrassing for junior kids to come in, and I'm the only one sitting there as a black sheep, So get me out of the school. It's embarrassing for me. My mom said, no, no, no. You messed up, you pay for it. But I said, Mom, look, uh, it's possibly a common practice. Sometimes they give you a pass certificate, and then you can go to any other school and go into the higher grade. At least you will not lose a year. So I said, Mom, this way I am losing 1 year of my life. Now hear these words, Gaurav. My mom said to me, I would rather see you lose 1 year of your life than lose your values for the rest of your life. It still hits here. I would rather see you lose 1 year of your life than lose your values for the rest of your life. And now I am writing my next book on parenting. Why did I bring this point to you? See, one of the biggest damage today's parents are doing for the children is they bail out, they bail them out. My mother never bailed me out. And what that tells me is, and I'm putting in my book, what is called correction in childhood, what is called discipline in childhood is called correction. And what is called discipline in adulthood is called punishment. See, in childhood, I'm an adolescent, I'm a juvenile. I made a mistake. My mother forgive me. But if I do the same thing, unethical, lately wrong as an adult, I'll be in jail.
Agreed.
So, what is called discipline in childhood is called correction, and what is called discipline in adulthood is called punishment. Now, important thing here is, my mother said to me, look, Shiv, I love you. I'll stand by you. I will stand by you no matter what. But I will not stand by your mistake. You know something? This is an element missing today.
So true.
You know, it's not the people say kids are messed up. No, no, no. Parents are messed up. Where are the parents today?
They made them softer for sure. Yeah.
Where are parents like this? So, I mean, there is a world of a difference. No wonder you find, do you know the average age of the criminal has gone down today? And this is what is going on. And what is it? It is because of, you see, faulty parenting, faulty environment, faulty social environment. That's bottom line that comes down to.
True that. Yeah. And, of course, even going back to your journey, and of course, the book is dedicated, to your mother. I think I did notice, that. So obviously, she's had a very, very big influence on you. But I always believe that the smartest people, they are actually sitting in the back benches. So even when we train, I think we end up, spending a lot of time with the guys in the back because there's some smart people who are sitting in the back of even the training rooms. I think that's been my belief as well. So you ended up in Canada and you went to Toronto, 1975, thereabouts. And you said that initially when you had to get there, just to survive and feed your family, you were actually washing cars and doing multiple jobs. I mean, surely could have been, an easy time coming from modern school, Barakamba, going to SRCC, a family that grew up relatively
very affluent. We were
course.
okay, yeah.
Right. And then going down and doing that, what was that like? Like, what were you feeling at that time? Was it resentment? Or what really was going through your mind at that time?
No, that was only survival at that time. Nothing else. I started washing cars for almost a year and a half. I was washing cars on the street. Then, totally by default, I got into selling vacuum cleaners. I wanted to double up my money. So I said, daytime I can wash cars. Evening time, I will sell vacuum cleaners door to door. I was selling vacuum cleaners.
Like the Eureka Forbes guys here, which is, it's a tough job.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I never reached my home till 12 o'clock at night. I mean, there was never a time that I reached home till 12, 1, sometime in the morning. Again, you pack up and you are out again washing cars. And Toronto washing cars, do you know, it is minus 10.
Right. Oh.
With 10 feet of 20 feet of snow there. Yeah. Go do it. Try do it. So, something people only see. Today's generation, they don't want to work hard. They don't want to work hard. And they want to become multimillionaires overnight without working.
Agreed.
And when they are looking at being unemployed, I have no sympathy for them. I have no sympathy for them. The sad part that graduate is not getting a job is, does he want to work? And in fact, there was a study done by NASCOM which said 90% of people who are coming out of the colleges, schools, they're not employable.
Unemployable.
And in fact, Narayan Murthy said the balance 10% is also question mark. So you see, even 90% of IITs and IIMs, guys, 40% of they're unemployed even now. And by the way, this same thing is happening with Harvard and also at Stanford. So bottom line is, on one side, you got almost 50% of graduates unemployment. But at the same time, you find how many of them genuinely want to work. Genuinely want to work. They want a job, but they don't want to do the job. And they look at watch and during working hours, they are playing social media. Is that what you're getting paid for? Is that not an integrity? Is that not stealing? That is bloody cheating and stealing. And they want to get paid for stealing. This is, what do you call that a person? A thief? You want to pay a thief?
I would agree.
We need to understand what the bloody hell are we talking about.
And it's going to get worse, right? Now with the entire AI wave and, whatever's going to happen there and the entry level, disruption, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better.
I'll tell you one thing. People with integrity, they will never have a problem. They will never have a problem. And people with this level, don't have sympathy for them. So it's fine. It's okay. But there are people with integrity who are willing to work hard and they have integrity and they're willing to do a good job. I don't think they'll have a problem.
Yeah.
They will not have any problem. Look, you cannot substitute that one person. One good machine can substitute 100 people. But 100 machines cannot substitute one good person.
Love that.
Okay? So we need to be very, very clear that one good person is important. You see, today people say, I work for you. I work for you. No, you work with me.
True.
You work with me. You don't work for me. You are working for yourself. When you get a paycheck, do you give it to me? So if you give it to me, then you're working for me. You are getting your damn paycheck. You don't give it back to me. You take it. So why are you saying you're working for me? You're not working for me.
Yeah.
You are working with me. And sadly, show me one school, even business school, that is talking this language. Show me one business school, even in the US. You know what is coming out of the business school are nuts, not employable. And they're the most unprepared generation today. Their expectations are so bloody high. They want it, but they don't want to work.
Yeah.
And they make bloody excuses, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. They want quick money in the stock market and they want trade derivatives and whatnot, which is suicide. Yeah. How much has sales changed? Because you did talk about the fact that, you of course then ventured into insurance sales, which, for, those who are not in the sales profession would think it's easy. It's probably like the hardest, possible, sale that you can actually ever do.
One of the toughest things to sell in the world is
insurance,
life insurance.
Yeah. How much has sales actually changed, over the course of, these 5 decades now? And what are you seeing happening in that space?
Gaurav, sales has changed drastically. I don't have a thing, otherwise I would draw a grid for you. See, there used to be a triangle like this.
Right.
And triangle used to be initially 10%, it was the rapport, establishing rapport,
Correct.
20% establishing the need, 30% creating a solution, and 40% was you be closing the sale. So your most of the time is to be close.
Right.
It's reversed now. So now it's this way.
Inverse pyramid now.
You see, 40% establishing rapport. Rapport means trust. 40% is trust. 40% is trust factor. And 30% is establishing a need, and 20% providing solution, 10% closing. You know what that means? Closing a sale is a natural outcome of a good presentation. So you have to have a good presentation, and then it becomes a natural outcome
Right.
of the whole thing. So yeah, selling has changed quite a bit. See, earlier they used to manipulate back and forth and then keep yes, but yes, but yes, but I agree, but. So you see, there are multiple things that have changed. One has to look at what are you doing, how are you working out the entire thing, and there are many, quite a few other things that have changed, but as eventually it comes down to the trust factor, and sometimes the fast talking is not what you're looking for. It is good listening. You see, by good listening you establish a pain point. We all have a pain point,
Agreed.
and most people who call themselves salespeople, they're not salespeople, they're order takers. They get one order from a place and they jump up and down like a monkey. Oh, I'm happy. Well, great, you got one.
Right.
But maybe you had the opportunity to close three more sales. You're happy you got one, but you don't understand that you just lost three. You left three right there.
Didn't spot the opportunity and
Didn't see the opportunity at all. And if every sale, the biggest problem in selling life insurance is that you run out of prospects. See, I started my career with Metropolitan Life. They make you make a list of 100 people that you know of, all friends, relatives, everybody, and you start selling from there. So when you start calling them, after some time, they say, yeah, let's ignore this guy's call. I know what he's going to do is sell life insurance,
Right.
and I don't want it.
Right.
So biggest challenge that people face is that they run out of prospects. Now, how long you're going to go on with 100 people? See, they don't understand how to get referrals. I remember when I did my MDRT and moved on from there, from every sale, I got 3 referrals.
Love it.
Now, if you're not getting 3 referrals from every sale, there's something wrong with you. You need to know how to get a referral. So one has to understand, and many times, Gaurav, our own presentations, our demeanor, our words, our things that we talk and work, actually, they build an objection at the end. They build an objection at the end. So you never wait till the end to close.
Always be closing. Right. It's
Yeah,
a constant process.
that's right. You never wait till the end to close.
Right.
That's the worst part. You know why? Because if they say no at the fag end, now that's a decision.
Right.
See, when in between you get a feeler, you get an opinion.
Right.
Opinions can be changed, decisions are hard to change.
Right.
But tell me who's understanding that? They don't.
So true.
Most people don't even know what selling is all about. And selling does not even start till somebody gives you an objection. Till then, you're order taking.
100%. And I think you're right. When you mentioned, and I've always told people this, that, people talk about, the pandemic or the COVID pandemic being, the big disease. I think the biggest disease is the trust deficit.
Yes,
you
sir.
just don't know who to trust. People will come and, on social media, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere else, they'll just make these, big promises, but the deliverables are not even a fraction of what they should be. And people as a result have just stopped trusting, in the space of training and coaching. They stopped trusting. The SME entrepreneur today in India is like, he'll call you and say, Kal aap mujhe kya chepne wale ho? I mean, that's the first question, not aap kya sikhane wale ho, but he said, what are you going to, like just thrust upon me, and how much are you going to rip me off for? I mean, it's disturbing when, conversations like that are actually happening, but I think it's a hole that we've all dug by virtue of the way things have been in the last few years.
You know what? It's a big integrity issue. It's a big integrity issue. The word that you used, आप मेरे को क्या चिपने वाले हो, means क्या मेरे से निचोड़ने को, क्या you going to undertake. I was interviewing long time ago, and a person to get into the sales कहता सर मैंने तो बहुत कुछ किया हुआ, खाली मुर्गा तो पकड़ना है. मैं कही मुर्गा दिखता है, मुर्गा दिखता है. Can you imagine the mentality? I said, thank you, pack up. Don't waste my time. Go somewhere. Go do your thing elsewhere.
Yeah.
This is the breed of people.
Right.
This is the breed of people. And where is the professionalism? Where is they don't even understand that there are times it is more profitable to walk away from a sale. And it is not that the best salespeople can sell a bald guy a comb and kind. You heard all those things. No, no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I have walked away from sales, and I saw things are working out perfectly fine, and I walked away. And it makes sense. I mean, just put yourself in the other person's shoes.
True that.
Tell me, what is the definition of selling? And you are teaching selling. You ask people, they don't even know one word. How do you define selling? In fact, just it so happened I was addressing a business school there, considered to be one of the top business school. And they said, Mr. Khera, we are doing this, and I am trying to sell. I have a project, and it's a client in Europe and US. They just get down my phone. They don't even entertain me. They don't even talk. What do I do? What do I start? How do I work it out? And where do I go? I said, look, there's no one size fits all. We need to understand. I need to have a context of it. And then, you see, if one sentence could do the job and you could become an expert salesperson, then I think all these, even your college should close. Then that should be enough. No, I say it doesn't work that way. Come into a 3-day program. I'll tell you what the whole thing is all about. But I said, but how do you define selling? I said, now here. Selling is 90% conviction, 10% communication of that conviction. 90% of selling is conviction, means belief in your product. 10% communication of the conviction. Now, I can go an example. Till this, I understood. I was selling $5,000, $10,000 policies. When I understood this, one guy a good professional sat down with me, and he says, you are looking, and he was selling 50, 100,000, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million policy, huge. And I was selling 5, 10,000. So I went up to him and I said, buddy, tell me, how are you doing all this? He said, Shiv, I need to do a one-on-one presentation with you. I said, all right. I'll do a role play with you. I said, all right. He came to my place, good professional, and he started exactly the same thing what he would do to a prospect outside. Started doing fact finding. Okay, went through the fact finding process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he says, how much insurance do you have currently? This, and in case you died, you have children. How much money do you think they would need to live and survive, and so on? And in case you died, you have a mortgage or a rental. Who's going to pay for this? And it's X $100,000. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He said, schooling, education, and then today something happens, and 20 years later, if they go to college, is there an inflation factor? Yeah, the factor inflation. They calculated. So eventually they came out with a need of over $1 million. And he said, how much insurance do you have? I said, 5,000. He said, no wonder you're not able to sell. He says, you are looking to tell them to buy $1 million. You create a need for them, but you know something? You are dishonest. He said to me, you are dishonest. You are not protecting your own family, and you want them to protect their family, and you are telling them to do it.
Where's your conviction?
Where is your conviction? You know something? He says, that same day, I signed up $1 million policy. And eventually, over a period of time, I kept adding, and my insurance was almost $4.5 to $5 million. I carried that much insurance. I was paying almost $75,000 per year in my premiums. $75,000 per year. But that was great.
And your sales would have gone up.
I hit
Crazy
4-year
too.
MDRT. Then I
Right.
got into diversified into many other things
Right.
because if I had hit 5, then you can use the MDRT logo for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But I can't. So it's fine. That's okay. But I understand.
Yeah.
My wife hit MDRT for a few years. We were together.
Right.
We were both going to the conferences together. So what I'm sharing with you, sadly, how many people know what I'm talking? And most sales managers don't know what I'm talking.
Agreed. Agreed.
And they're teaching selling to their people.
Yeah.
Rubbish. They're talking nonsense. And how do you expect performance out of these people?
I love what you also mentioned, when we met at lunch a couple of weeks ago, and when the host asked you to share something, and you straight away spoke about the importance of relationships, and we've always said this: neither of you in a contact and a contract is letter R, and that R is relationships. And I think again it boils down to that part of rapport which you mentioned, which is now the top of our inverse pyramid. It's just that rapport and that relationships, and I think people just don't want to build that anymore. They just want quick wins, and they want to use technology, and they want to use shortcuts. They don't want to spend time to building rapport and building relationships. And I think that's the biggest, folly of salespeople today.
Well, that is absolutely true. And that kind of thing goes to every area. You notice one thing, people who are selfish, they are selfish in everything.
Right.
Yeah. Selfish in money, selfish in relationship, selfish in food, selfish everywhere. I'll share one little thing with you, a little story, which I have written in my book, You Can Achieve More, which says subtitle, Take a Break Before You Break Down. It is helping on talking of partly on how to handle stress.
Right.
A man went to a spiritual master and said, Sir, I am fed up with my job. My boss is nasty. I am overworked, underpaid. I got so many problems at work. Give me a blessing. So the man says, well, you got problems at work. Your boss is nasty. You are overworked, underpaid. You got so many problems. What blessing do you want me to give you? Should I say that you should be fired from your job as that's a good blessing? Oh, no, that'll be worse. So he says, you got a job, you got a problem. You have no job, you got a problem. Guess who's got the problem? Guess who's got the problem?
You got
You know what this is called? This is called management mismanagement. Management properly is profitable. Mismanage, loss. Manage health, profitable. Mismanage health, loss. Manage finance, profitable. Mismanage finance, loss. Manage time, profitable. Mismanage time, loss. Manage relationship, profitable. Mismanage, loss. Do you need a PhD to understand this? Do you need an MBA to understand this? Sadly, after doing PhD, MBA, they still don't understand this. They don't. No kidding. And since you brought about the point of relationship, when I do programs for business schools, they teach them networking. And they say, go join this group, Chamber of Commerce or
Right.
Lions or Rotaries or
Right.
whatever you are, go join.
Right.
Go network. You ask the guy, what are you doing? I'm networking. Why are you networking? I'm building contact. Why are you building contact? Someday he could be useful. Usefulness goes, everything finishes, and it's all over. You see, they don't teach them the difference between context versus relationship. And they don't teach them that usefulness is a byproduct of relationships. You see, they're only building context to extract something out of you. They're parasites, they're rascals. They're only takers. You think you can ever build relationship with rascals like that? Answer is, you cannot. So it's only takers, they're parasites. We have an office in Singapore. One evening I came from dinner and a man met me in the lobby and he asked me, Mr. Khera, you came from dinner? I said, yes, sir. And he said, you met some people tonight? I said, yes, sir. And he said, I hope they could be useful to you. Look at this. I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something else.
Right.
See, his objective of meeting people was usefulness, what he could extract out of them. They are parasites, they are crooks, only takers. So you don't build relationships like this. In relationships, you need to start learning to give.
Oh, 100%.
And you start giving. You don't wait till you get something, then I will give. Then you are doing transactions.
Very powerful.
That is transactions.
Yeah.
You don't wait.
No, I agree. I mean, I walked into a room once, again, a networking forum, and, this gentleman came to me after and he said, so are you joining? And I said, I'm not. And he said, but why not? There's so much happening here. I said, I came in here and it just seemed everyone here was here to get. It was, hunters versus farmer mentality. Everyone here was, what can, you do for me? No one even once, I mean, conversations are happening. No one even once asked in a 1 hour session, what do you do? Right? I'm like, that just blows my mind. How is that, even possible? And that's what the world is coming to today, where people, they don't want to give. This is about what's in it for me. I think that's become, the most, sought after thought for many. What's in it for me? That's all they care about. Yeah, it's sad.
That's why I'm very selective in the kind of groups that I go into, whether the chamber,
Right.
and even the kind of group that we met. There are very few people who are sort of warm and who connect with you on those levels. But other than that, they're all looking for what's in it for me, and it doesn't work that way. So if you notice that you don't connect with too many people, and when you don't connect, there's no point. What's time wasting time? It's not worth it.
Since we're talking so much about Singapore, interesting story happened, in my early journey, when I got into, some networking forums. And this is a gentleman called Ron Kaufman. So, and he was, based out of Singapore, and he was speaking at an event. And the event was in such a way that the first half of, his speech happened, then the breaking for coffee, and then the second half happened. And, during the break, everyone came to him and, they were all handing, over their cards to him. And then once, the second session starts, he says, what? I thought I was in Bangalore. But he says, I think I'm in Bondi Beach. And everyone's a little, unclear in terms of what he meant. He said, because what I witnessed today was seagull marketing. He said, when I'm walking down, the beach in Australia, in Bondi Beach, he said, a seagull comes and craps on me. He said, I think over that break, 100 people just came and crapped on me. And he pulls out all these visiting cards. And he says, everyone just came to me without even asking any context. He just handed me the card. He said, Mr. Kaufman, Mr. Kaufman, Mr. Kaufman, this is my card. And he walks up to a dustbin. Okay, he opens it and he throws the 100 cards in there. He said, that isn't networking. And as a result of which, I mean, that was an early lesson done maybe 14, 15 years ago. When I go to an event, I never give a card until I've been asked for one. And sometimes people say, oh, there's going to be 500 people. I hope you're carrying 500 cards. I sometimes go with 5 cards and I come back with 3. Right. And people don't realize that lesson.
That's right. So it's not exchanging cards. I think it's got to be exchanging some kind of a little emotional connect.
Right.
Till that emotional connect is missing, there's nothing out there.
Right.
So one ought to be starting out with an element. Right. What can I give? And by the way, this is kind of thing that these young kids are learning from business schools, including the top business schools. I'm not going to name, I may name a few, but even the top business schools. I'll share with you what happened once. My daughter had finished her master's in US. I'm talking of the year 2000 when the dot-com thing hit peak. At the time in US, there was zero unemployment. And these kids who were not even getting jobs for 10, 20, 30,000, they were starting getting offers for 40, 50, 60,000 jobs. And people were job hopping for 2,000, 3,000 and 4,000. And I've learned one thing. People who come in for a few bucks, walk out for a few bucks. Never hire people who are coming in. I was getting this. What hike are you going to give? I said, take a hike. That's the staircase. Take a hike. Back up.
Mercenaries.
Go. The people who walk in for a few bucks, walk out for a few bucks. They're not looking for it. See, my daughter, young kid, So every one person, there were two jobs waiting for them. So she got two job offers, excellent offers. Top companies in the world, I'm not going to mention. In fact, even if I do, it makes no difference. One was Arthur Anderson, one was another one.
Right.
Anyway, so she kept calling me, Dad, this one is offering me this. This one is offering this. Like a bidding war. They were offering this. This were offering this. And she went through the process and said, which one should I take? Which one should I take? And then they got a second call, third call, second call, third call. And every time they were trying to up here, and bidding.
Right.
After 1 year, she said, Dad, I'm confused. Which one should I take? I said, what's the problem? The problem is not the offers.
Right.
The problem is your mind. You know what's the problem? You are only till now basing a decision, looking to base a decision, what you can get from each one.
Right.
Not once did you think, where can I give more? Your decision-making process would change. Did you ever think, where can you contribute more?
Yeah.
Who's teaching this? Which college is teaching this? Nobody.
Okay.
And I said, wherever you can contribute more, that's where you will rise faster. You tell me, what are we talking? Gaurav, sadly today, it is nuts. When you see the crop today, people who come in for an interview, you put an ad, you get 500 resumes. You can't even find 5 proper good people out of that. And there's unemployment. Of course, what got to be unemployment? And should be. Because you are a liability.
Yeah.
We hire you, you'll be troubling. You're a trouble here.
Yeah.
We need to get our values right.
Yeah.
All you're looking is a taker. You never even thought, where can I give more?
And I love how, you always bring stories into it. And both your books, and of course, I did have the good fortune to get my signed copies. And I went back and I was, going through them and I was putting, the highlights and the post-its. Just, I think storytelling makes it so relevant and it, will be timeless. And these are timeless classics. And of course, you got your latest book, which is, Live While You Are Alive. And I think that was written just last year.
Yeah, it just was launched last year.
Right. And then, of course, the OG and the, the original one. And I just think the power of storytelling and just how simple you've kept it, it makes it such a pleasant and an easy read.
You know why it's kept simple? Because I'm not that educated. You see, the people who have got all those big degrees, they pick big words. All these books are 6th grade level. Why keep it at 6th grade level so that MBAs, PhDs everybody can understand them?
Right.
Easier.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that. Let's do a bit of a rapid fire as well. I mean, there've been such insane insights, and I'm sure you all, feel that way. It's truly been a masterclass, more than a podcast. And I love that as well. So I thought let's do a bit of a rapid fire as well. And the first thing that comes to your mind, one word, one sentence, and we'll just go through some of these. And of course, there has to be a goodie bag at the end of the rapid fire as well. So we're going to have that for you as well. So first up, one habit that guarantees success.
Stay focused.
Right. And the flip side of that, one habit that will destroy success.
Distraction. Lack of focus. Destroy success.
Right.
And discipline. Discipline is the one.
Sure. Of course. Books or experience, what teaches more?
I'd say start with books, end up with experience. Start with books, because experience without the theory messes up too.
So 2 topics that are both very close to your heart. One is discipline and one is motivation. If you were to choose one, which one would it be?
I would choose discipline, though I'm not at it level. I've not attained it. I lack that area. So I'm working on it, but discipline is the big key.
Got it.
Not motivation.
Okay. What's the best advice that you ever received in your career?
My mom, who said, I would rather see you lose 1 year of your life than lose your values for the rest of your life.
That's priceless. Yeah, love that. One thing that young people today worry too much about.
They're only obsessed with success, money, material things, and designers. This, what are other people going to say, what they will say, what they think about me. That's all they're obsessed. And today, that's what is happening. And 90% of depression today is coming out of social media because of depression today.
Comparison culture, peer pressure.
Yeah. Depression has gone up by 400% in the last few years. 400%.
One word your close friends use to describe you.
They describe me, nuts. Yeah, they tell me he's. I hate to use the word. Well, he's strong-headed. I guess
I would say passionate, right? I mean, I think when you really care about something, you really care about something.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, we've only had a few meetings, but I think the passion, like, really shows through. One decision that you've been most grateful for.
Well, my marriage was the great decision that I'm grateful for, because I think my wife was a big change in my life, brought direction to me.
You've been married for how many years now?
I'm married now 54 years. Same lady. And I got married when I was 23, 22. And people ask me, wasn't that a little too early to get married? And my answer is, if I had a rewind button in my rewind button in my life, I would get married 3 years earlier to the same lady.
And she's seen you through all the thick the highs and lows and everything.
And here we still have our fights, by the way. We still have our fights. And we still say, don't talk to me. Yeah, that goes on still.
Right. Your biggest motivator, even today?
My biggest motivator is when I see somebody in pain for no fault of their own. Somebody oppresses somebody. That bothers me. Somebody is being oppressed for no fault of their own. I think that's injustice.
Yeah.
That puts me to fight.
Book writing or speaking? What do you enjoy more?
Oh, well, speaking is a lot more,
Right.
I'd say, somewhat. But book writing is pretty close. But I got 4 more books my publishers have signed up now.
Amazing.
So it's coming, and hopefully this year.
And that's going to take the total to how many books now?
Well, if you count the school books, that makes it 15 or something like that. But if you don't count them, it's 4 or 5.
Yeah. And they're all bestsellers in their own space. I love that. One quality that keeps relationships strong.
It is empathy, caring, not love.
Yeah.
Not love. It is understanding. It is not compatibility. It is our ability to live with the incompatibilities in life. See, we have to be compatible in our values. Rest is caring, adjustment, nothing else.
True that. At home, are you strict or easygoing?
I'm easygoing.
One movie character that you relate to and enjoy watching again and again.
Clint Eastwood, Charles Bronson, James Bond. I'll give you
Also
3.
tough guys. Not a speaker and an author. What do you think you would have been?
I'd be a martial art instructor today. I'd do that.
Love that. One thing that still gets you excited like you were a child.
I enjoyed my horse riding. I used to play polo. I'd love to go back, but I find it hard now.
And last couple of ones. One word for your life journey so far.
I'm grateful to God, but could have been better. When I say but could have been better, there's a lot of area to improve.
Right.
I'm not there where I want to be.
Okay. Yeah, you set a high standard. And the one dream that is still left to achieve.
I want to see a major change in the political environment in India.
Yeah.
This is a mess.
Yeah. Thank you for the rapid fire. I think that was absolutely fantastic. And you've actually agreed to do this podcast, and you have a very big event coming up, something that you're doing now once a year, and it's a sold out event. So tell us about that. 4 days of awesomeness coming up.
What we do a 4-day leadership program, and you can say it's a value based leadership. Value based leadership. And today, globally, there is a dearth of good leaders, dearth of good leaders. Now, there are tons of leaders, but there's dearth of good leader. Now, what makes a good leader? What makes a leader good? Goodness has something to do with integrity and values. That's called good. Would you call Hitler a good leader? No, no. He was a leader, all right. But do you call him a good leader? No, you don't. So the word good must be attached, and the goodness has some values involved. Along with it, you got to be an effective leader. Effective. Now he was effective, all right, but he was not a good leader. So this is needs to be clarified here, and globally there's a dearth of good leadership. What we have a subtitle to this value based leadership: grow by creating a culture of trust and accountability. 3 words: grow. Who doesn't want to grow? 2, can we grow without trust and accountability?
Not in the long term.
And today, all over the world, the biggest challenge people are facing, business people, anywhere. Why business people? Even in relationship, husband, wife. I mean, look at the marriage breakdowns. It's what? Distrust. It is trust and accountability.
100%.
And we close this. There's something called success principles. Okay? See, many times people tell me, give me some tips, give me some tricks, give me some tactics to succeed. Give me some tips, tricks, tactics. I said, look. You see, tricks are done by dogs. We are humans. So come first on that. And 2, this is not tactics. You see, what we talk in our program, they are principles of success. They're not tactics, because tactics are manipulative. Principles are based on foundation of integrity. And that's really what we are talking about. So in our 4-day program, people walk away with an action plan and go to implement right there. And that's how they write to us back. Well, I attended your program. Till then, I was doing this. Since then, I'm doing this. And finally, thing is, we say, learn success principles and avoid pitfalls. See, why do I say this, Gaurav? Because you find most successful people, they're not geniuses, but many times they avoid stupid mistakes. Many times they avoid stupid
Or at least
mistakes.
don't repeat them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And see, I learned one thing, that making a mistake once in a while does not bring failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again, it will bring failure.
Right.
And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. And that is why it is said, success is a habit and so is failure. There are some people, no matter what they do, they succeed. There are some people, no matter what they do, they always fail. So that is really our objective of our 4-day leadership program, that people walk away with an action plan to implement. And if 4 days prepare a person for the rest of their life, is that a good investment? And that's why people come into our program. And we've had people, they've changed their programs. You know why? Many senior people come in, managing director of Hewlett Packard has gone through our program, and many others.
Right.
See, and all these people are always going to be busy. They're going to be busy all the time. So we had a guy who was going to London, and they came to know that we're doing a program. And I said, look, I'm doing only one program a year. And he says, Shiv, you're not doing another one. I said, nothing is planned so far. So the guy says, well, okay, I'm going to change my trip. I said, why are you doing that? He said, because I understand that time is more precious than money. Time is more precious than money. And if 4 days can prepare me for the rest of my life, what better investment? He said, I'm changing my program.
Okay.
And they change it, they come in. So key again comes in, learn success principles, avoid pitfalls, and change. Look, you know something? People are willing to invest today more for entertainment than education.
100% agree.
I'm not kidding. They are willing to pay more money for entertainment than education. But go check out all over the world people who have succeeded. Warren Buffett, all these guys, they read books. They go through programs like this. And the Jack Welch used to go through 15 days leadership training himself.
Right.
So that's why people come into our program, and we have some of the top 100 Fortune 100 companies like Lufthansa, Johnson and Johnson as our clients, and they come in.
Inspirational. Because, and you said 77 years old and you're going to be training for 4 days. And I think that is just like mind blowing. And most people here, like I said, wouldn't even last 4 hours on stage, and you're going to do it for 4 days.
But it energizes me. You know why? I've learned one thing. People don't get tired because of hard work. They get tired because of stress, and they get tired because they don't want to do a good job. When you have conviction, you never feel tired.
Agreed.
You never feel tired. I don't know how to feel tired.
It'll never feel like work. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Amazing. And you did mention that the program is completely sold out, and you didn't advertise at all.
No, this one we did not.
Entirely driven through word of mouth and referrals. And again, I think that's a testament to your work, because a lot of times when I hear from people when they're going for a 2-day event or 3-day event at a 5-star hotel, they're like, "Acha, chalo aur kuch seekhne ko nahi milega, to acha khana to kha lenge." So they're actually going there for the food and not the learning. And I'm like, man, that just hurts when people say something like that.
And let me give you, our program is not a picnic. We kick off in the morning at 9:30. We go till 6:37. Mobiles are switched off. 2 15-minute tea coffee break, 1 40-minute lunch break.
Right.
And after 7 o'clock in the evening, they get homework and they do it. They get homework. It's not party time. And we go through the process. And at the end of 4 days, they walk away with a clean action plan and move on with it.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. And while we did talk about the legacy question, and you said your wife and you had this conversation every time, they know when you're hanging up your boots, and you're like, only when they're going to carry me off the stage. So what is Shiv Khera's legacy going to be?
Well, we are creating all our programs online. And because my immediate family, they don't want to get into it. So I am creating all our programs online, and eventually they can take them moving forward, and it's up to them how they want to carry forward further.
It's almost like what a Dale Carnegie would have done, something that can be perhaps licensed and taken forward, for decades, if not centuries.
Yep.
Do love that. So concluding piece, I know we've gone over an hour now, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. And like I said, the passion, the energy just shines through. I wish, when I'm at your age, I'm half as, passionate as you are today. I mean, like I said, it takes a lot to, actually really move me. And I think this conversation really did that. What would be your message to the youth today? What are you wanting them to, just do better? What do you want them to, to make us Viksit Bharat, or, whatever it may be? What do you think the youth today needs to do?
Take that one message, which invariably am asked. And people say, well, there's so much of competition. I said, no. Never in the history of mankind has it been so easy to succeed in life the way it is today. Regardless of your profession, we have no competition. Somebody asked me, how come? So I asked that man, and I'm asking through you, your entire audience. Tell me, and in fact, I ask you, Gaurav, yourself, because you have a lot of people working for you. You've got a big company yourself. Tell me, how many people do you know right now walking off the street who are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for? How many? Answer is hardly any. Right. Most people don't even want to do what they get paid for. Right. There's a second big category of people who only want to do what they can get by with. There's a small fraction of people who are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for. And I asked him, if you fall in that category, I don't care what your profession is. Tell me, where's your competition? You see, you can't even find a good accountant today. You can't even find a good attorney today. You can't find a good plumber. You can't find a good carpenter. You can't find a good anything. Question is, are you willing to do a little bit more than what you get paid for? You see, you find life histories of people who have succeeded and then sustained success and then built goodwill. They've all lived by one principle that I shall always give more than what I get to my family. I shall always give more than what I get to my organization. I shall always give more than what I get to my customer. And I shall always give more than what I get to my society. If you live by this principle, tell me, where's your competition? You got none.
So true. And the truth is, the more you give, the more you get back. So that, I think, is also the rule of the universe, which many forget. Yeah. Ms. Shiv Khera, like I said, it was an absolute honor and a pleasure. True masterclass in every respect, and really, really inspired by what you shared. Of course, we did have the rapid fire, so there is a gift goodie bag that we had for you from
Oh,
us
okay.
as well. So this was something from the Shantanu Nikhil collection. So just a nice pen to
Oh,
write some of your thoughts. So I
thank you,
did
sir.
get you one of those.
Thank you, sir.
I do know that you also like your ties and your cufflinks. So we
Oh,
have,
my God.
again, one of those from Shantanu Nikhil as well. So just
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
cufflink.
sir. Thank you, sir.
You
These
were
are big names. I buy my pens from New York, 10 for $1.
yeah.
My pens are 10 for $1. So, you know why? Whenever I'm passing through the airports or somewhere,
Right.
invariably, if I sign something, the pen gets left there.
Right.
And I just got a Parker, which was only 4 weeks I kept, and I don't know where it's gone. So,
Okay. And then, of course, as a souvenir for being on the podcast, we have the Let's Chat with GB
okay.
mug. And I know you're such a big proponent of goals and goal setting. So I also got you one of our goal planners, which I will go ahead and this initial for you as well. So this is something that has been very dear to my heart and my audience. And of course, so that's the Scaling with GB goal planner, which I will also.
Oh, thank you, sir.
That's
Grateful
what-
to you, sir.
So,
Grateful to you.
once again, Ms. Khera, it was,
Thank you,
an
sir.
absolute pleasure, and thank you so very much for
Thank
coming
you,
in and
sir.
enlightening our audience. I'm sure all of you who listen to this, back home and office and on your travels, I would really appreciate it. Here is a legend of our space. In a land and a market which is filled with fly by night operators. We had today the honor of speaking with someone who is 40 years in the business, not giving up anytime soon, and really, like I said, blew my mind here. Being in the same room with him, and I'm sure you would feel the same way as well. So definitely do connect with Mr. Khera. It is shivkhera.com as the website, running some amazing programs. If you can get a seat, because they always get sold out as soon as he announces them. And if you haven't already got the 2 books and others, I think you should definitely do that. Like I said, just look at the number of highlights, and it took hours, okay, not days, to read these. And I think you will grow truly richer in every way by just going ahead and going through these. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Gaurav. God bless you.